Yeah. That's too long.
Rock and roll. All right, I'd like to call the Ways and Means meeting to order if I could.
Yes,
We have Brian Muldrow, remote, myself, Jonathan Annis here, Heidi Nightingale, and Ben Vitale. I'd like to open with approval of the August 20th, 24 minutes. Can I get a motion for that?
Move it.
All right, thank you.
Second.
As you see on the agenda, we have no appointments on the agenda, and we also have no resolutions. But we do have the opportunity to talk with the various departments to see if there's any updates to their reports they want to give. We could start with our treasurer. Is there anything you want to highlight in?
No, that's particular, that wasn't even next question.
Okay, does anyone?
Dave, I have a question.
Yeah.
The tax foreclosure process, is that due to taxes? Is that the foreclosure process, your question?
Is it what?
Foreclosure process, is that due to delinquent taxes?
Yeah,
And does that include properties both in the county and the city?
no, in the county,
Just in the county?
yeah.
Excludes the city? Okay. Anything else? That was all.
So any property that you foreclose on is currently in the county at somewhere.
Yes,
The city would do their own foreclosure.
I believe they work on their own over there, yes.
Correct.
Okay. Is
The
there,
foreclosure process itself right now is particularly difficult because of some of the changes they made in the state, working with Jenny and working with Fred on that. We can talk to that a little bit if you want, but it's getting more and more complicated all the time.
in terms of the assessed value of the property and what?
Just
No,
the requirements, and surplus around surplus funds.
yes, and how you keep it and how you return it and all of
There's
those
also
things.
Additional notice requirements that went into,
You talked,
updates to the law.
we talked about this in the spring when they changed the law at the time they did the state budget.
We did, yes. But there's quite a few new notice requirements that does make it a little bit more complicated.
It's not just the assessments, it's requirements that they're having us do more and more difficult to work with.
So it would be harder for the county to foreclose than it used to be.
It's not harder, it's just more paperwork.
Cumbersome.
Specific things. Fred, we work a lot with Fred, and he can talk a little bit about some of the legal side of things on that they're requiring. But more documents, more different substantive things that they're making us do. Because there was a major lawsuit out west in Minnesota, and that's kind of thrown a monkey wrench into everything and caused them to change everything around.
Yep.
And it's made it really hard for us here, and which I don't think it's going to affect us like it would in some other places. What happened, but it's costing us a lot of extra work here that we didn't need.
Okay, thank you. Anything else for the treasurer? Okay. Grace, if you wanna, anything you wanna highlight or add to your report?
Yeah, I'll just mention, you can see my top two bullets. We've had a couple, 5-year reviews that have happened, this last couple months. One being, Stop DWI audit that's currently in process, but our, court and trust audit, the state came in and they did a 5-year review. They finished that up and we had a quick video conference. Good news, very small findings in prior years. 2023 looked great. So they were very pleased with that. So just want to say, it was a good job with all the staff in finance and treasurer because some were prior years in the county clerk's office that we, were in compliance.
And the DWI audit has to do with the revenue coming in?
Yes, what are we using our funding on?
Yep.
And they're required to do quarterly reporting in what they're using their funding on. So now it's just a review. This is what you've reported. Show us proof of these various things. Yes.
Yep, okay.
And then the other thing I just wanted to highlight, like I try to do every month, 'cause I'm not sure who sees the email, but I did put out an email regarding September sales tax. September this year compared to September last year was about 0.5% lower, which did bring us down. So it dropped us. We're still over last year to date in total by 1%, but that did come down. But what that does do is we are now looking, if I use September actuals We're projecting to be about $1 million under budget in sales tax revenue. So hopefully it doesn't keep trending that way, but, I just wanted to kind of update that so you're aware of that.
Is it likely that could turn around a little, or who knows?
I mean, who really knows? You could say holidays are coming, but last year holidays were here as well, inflation's up. So one would say, well, costs are up, sales tax is up, but people are spending less too. So, I don't know. I mean, it's really hard to say.
Yep.
It's kind of hard to project that at this point. I don't see anything that's, going to cause it to go up or down either way. So, it's just now a matter of building all that stuff. So.
And the actual closure on that number happens in the first so many months of next year?
Yes, yes. The last couple of payments come in at the end, for December, they come in January. So we actually do have to do a year-end accrual to kind of make 24 whole so we can really compare it last year to this year. But yes.
Is there any other questions for Grace? All right, thank you, Grace. Hey, Jenny.
You have my report in front of you. If there's any questions.
And just remind me again, we're only doing assessments for 1 or 2?
We're doing it for 2. We're doing for Niles and Moravia.
Okay,
So in the report, I met with the Niles supervisor and we're recommending that they do a reassessment project for the 2026 year. That's completely up to their board whether or not they want to do that. But I have told them that I can be available if they have questions, but that's certainly our recommendation to them.
because they're getting out of kilter with the property values and those kind of things?
So the last reassessment project for them was done in 2019.
Mhm.
It's really good to do them every 3 to 4 years. So their equalization rate is dropping quickly, especially given the market conditions right now. So to make sure that the assessments are equitable and that the taxes are distributed equitably, we recommend that they do a reassessment project.
Okay, any other questions for Jenny? All right, thank you. Hi, Diane.
So I'll just highlight, our positions that we're trying to fill right now. So that's, we have 37 as far as resolutions that have been submitted and, certified to date as far as or recruiting for. The number of open vacancy positions, these are any positions at one time that were created and may have been filled but are not filled currently. So a lot of them would be like your seasonal employment positions, positions for elections that will get filled as we get closer to them finishing their hiring for this year. Being an election year, they'll hire more people. A lot of them are COVID positions, which we actually need to go through and get rid of. So there's a number of them in there too. So I just wanted to let you know that really doesn't represent how many positions are budgeted and currently open. Okay, that maybe perhaps departments haven't asked to fill yet.
A typo?
No, when I asked her, because he just said, is that a typo, 694? I called her and said, what do you make of this? And I think you're just trying to highlight that there are positions that are sitting there without funding and in your records that potentially may never be refilled again or could be, but your point is you probably should go through this list and weed out things that don't make sense to be sitting there anymore.
Right. So our plan is to reach out to each department that has these vacant positions, ask them which ones do they want to keep open and which ones can we go through and abolish and get rid of because they're positions that they're not going to fill any longer. So like I said, the majority of them were, created during COVID for the public health department and then we have some other positions.
And when we abolish positions, it's the double edge. You can't fill if there's no funding, but if you abolish it and you need it again, then you have to go through all the administrative work of reclassifying it, right?
Correct. So some departments have created a position and unfunded a position, but because they want to keep that position available for like a future promotion, they have not abolished the position.
But sometimes we've made them.
But
Yeah, right,
so it
right.
varies. So
Yeah.
there's a variety of reasons why a position might be vacant, but the majority of them are not funded at this time.
Mr. Strong has a question. Chair.
Yeah, Mark?
Diana, I'm sure you probably have some sort of way of doing this, but is there any way we can get a breakdown of, health and human services, rural property, whoever where these positions are, I can find out. Health and human services got 50. Is that possible?
Yeah, I can
Easy
send you a
breakdown.
full list if you'd like.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Okay, yep. Last but not least, again, Amanda?
The only thing I was gonna highlight, unless anyone had any questions, was the open PO review and update for a report. So I'm running a report on any open POs that goes from, if there was one from 2015 that was still open, they get carried forward. So as soon as we can close those, whatever the remaining balance is, whether it's 10,000, 5,000, that amount of money goes back into the general fund once I close it. It doesn't go back into their budget, even though it carries forward. So in case you saw that report that went out, I'm just urging the departments to go through and clean those up so that we're not carrying so much forward. And it's the start of like our end of the year cleanup of POs.
And in order to carry the PO over, there has to be money left over in it?
Yeah, there has to be money available in
Mhm.
whatever the purchase was, the PO that they submitted. So if we're buying a car, like the
Mhm.
highway department buys them a couple years in advance, they have some that carry forward for 2 years. So it was budgeted in that year that they put their PO in, and then they carry it forward until they're able to get the vehicle and then pay for it. So it doesn't, mess with their current operating budget.
But if they're not planning on spending, you would like to get it back into the county's general fund?
Right. Close it.
Okay.
Yeah. Anybody have any questions or anything?
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. As I said, when we opened the meeting, there are no Ways and Means resolutions tonight. So if we want to get to the Health and Human Services part of the agenda, that's great.
Okay. Madam Chair, Health and Human Services has 13 resolutions. HH 13 was just added by Mental Health. Did each of you receive a copy of that? Thank you. So that's on your desk. When we get to that, we can talk about that. I would like to bundle HH 1, HH 3, HH 10, HH 11, HH 12. Each of these are resolutions to enter into contracts with agencies for services that are pretty typical and annual for us. For example, HH 1 entering into a contract with New York State for the bike, pedestrian, and wheel sport safety program. 3, contracting with CAP for the rapid rehousing case management services. HH 10 with the Office of Aging to contract with Boyle and Anderson for their legal counseling for seniors. HH 11, the Youth Bureau entering into a contract with Booker T. Washington using the final portion of our ARPA funds. HH 12, Youth Bureau again executing agreements with various agencies to provide youth development services.
I'll make a motion for HH 1, 3, 10, 11, and 12.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Thank you. So I'd also like to do a bundle of HH 2.
Hold on. Can we take out the Booker T. Washington? I sit on the board, so I don't know if I need to come out. I was trying to get off mute, so I'm sorry.
I'll mark him abstain from that.
As abstained.
Yep.
So I'll abstain for that, okay? Just want to make sure
Yep.
record.
Okay, thank you, Brian.
Thank you. So I'd like to bundle HH 2, HH 4, HH 6, HH 8. These are resolutions to accept funding. HH 4, HH 2, for instance, Social Services to accept youth employment program, the funding, significant amount of funding. Amending the HH4, amending the social services budget to accept 100% flexible funding from, or federal funding for the flexible fund for family services. HH8. I actually should have,
I think you said 6 too. And then
6 as well.
Yep.
Amending the mental health service budget to adjust state aid funding for contract agencies. This was the, we talked about that with.
Yep, the COLAs, right?
Yep.
Yep.
HH8 actually shouldn't have bundled because I do have an amendment to discuss.
Okay, then why don't we just I'll move HH2, 4, I think, 6, 2, 4, and 6. Can I get a second for that?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So we'll go to HH8, which is also a resolution that we have seen before. Accepted this last month. We are amending this in the second to the last resolve to include specifically independent contractors. So this is the grant from the New York State Department of Health to address drug overdoses. It's about a 2.5-year grant. We predict, and we are specifically asked for the department to look at filling the people needed in this grant as independent contractors, not employees of the county. So in order to do that, we have to go back in that last resolve and specifically say that the chair of the legislature and the director of community services are authorized to enter into contracts with suitable agencies and independent contractors until the grant expires within the budget limits of the grant to accomplish the tasks associated with the grant.
Because Heidi, your point is, the original resolution didn't include independent contractors. It just referenced contract agencies.
Correct.
I'll make a motion for HH8, and then after it's seconded, I'll make a motion for the amendment to HH8.
Okay, can I get, okay,
You need a second?
I'll second that.
On both of those?
Yeah, I guess I'm confused. Which one is HH13?
That we haven't discussed.
We haven't.
HH13 is brand new.
Okay,
Just hit our desk today.
okay. HH8 is the one that well, because one we're
We
rescinding a
approved that
resolution.
committee.
Just amending 255,
Okay,
Yeah.
right?
I
This is
believe-
the new one.
I believe the only change to HH8 is the highlighted independent contractors, correct?
It passed committee without that highlighted.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion for HH8 as amended.
No, not yet. So
All right.
it's on the floor
All right,
and now we just need a motion to amend.
I made the motion to amend. Now we gotta
By
have.
Tally.
Second for both.
I'll second.
Thank you.
And then we have to vote on it as amended.
As amended. Vote on the amendment and then vote on it as.
All right. All in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that passes. And now the resolution as amended?
Yeah.
Motion in a second, or just a vote?
Sure.
All right, I'll move it.
Second.
All right. All in favor of this as amended? Aye,
Aye.
Thank you.
really.
HH5, HH7, HH9, I'd also like to bundle. These are all fills of budgeted positions.
I'll move those.
Second.
All right. Any
So
discussion?
HH5 is authorizing the Commissioner of Social Services to fill a transportation aid in social services. HH7 is authorizing the legislature to create a budgeted staff social worker. Again, that's help, through help. So we're creating because we have to create that title. And then HH9, filling a full-time staff psychiatrist position at the Community Mental Health Center where we're without.
I'll move those. Get a second?
Sure, second.
Okay, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, any left? Just 13?
Just 13, which came to us tonight, so hot off the press or this afternoon. This is actually, again, it's amending a resolution that we accepted
In July.
in July.
Yeah.
Again, the amendment has to do with independent contractors. So if you go to the 1, 2, 3, fourth to the last resolved, the resolution number 244-24 be amended to permit the chair of the Cayuga County Legislature and the Director of Community Services are authorized to enter into contracts with suitable agencies and qualified independent contractors until the grant expires and within the budget limits of the grant.
I'll move that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I do have to mention that, Monica Lauren had done an excellent job
Yeah.
trying to come up with doing business a little bit different as requested. So that's great.
They've done some really creative outreach. I've seen the outreach throughout the community.
Mark?
I guess my question is, what kind of work does these independent contractors do? I'm just.
It's a grant that will be providing like peer support services. The money is through basically opiate related funds to help those who are addicted. So independent contractors might be a peer counselor. One of them is going to be someone who's going to implement and do the program management of the grant. So essentially be a grant manager. But they'll be then on the ground not employees, contracted agencies or independent contractors. We don't want to bring in more employees because of a grant.
And I do think from listening to Lauren too, that she thought the easiest way to get the peers may be through agencies who provide peers. But it's those other support staff and helping manage the grant, helping Monica is where she's looking at individual people who also have contracts outside of this in the market. Is that what you learned?
That's my understanding, yes.
Because Fred went over with them and to make sure that this would not be any concern for, the IRS issues, that they're true independent contractors. And I think you were confident or you were told.
Based on the information I had, I was comfortable that they are independent contractors.
So they basically, if they're a counselor, say a counselor, there's minimums that they must meet to be eligible to apply.
That's my understanding, yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure if any of them are licensed counselors in terms of social work or those kind of things. They're helping implement the grant in some way, but
But they're qualified.
yes, they're qualified.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Heidi.
You're welcome.
Do we vote on that and everything? Okay. All right. Government ops, Brian?
How you doing? Can everybody hear me?
Thank you.
Okay, Geo, 924 Geo1 authorizes Cayuga County Veteran Services to fill one part-time veteran service officer position, and the acronym is VSO. Can I get a motion?
Move it. Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Brian.
All right, thank you.
Planning,
Wow.
Public Works.
Moving really quickly here. Planning and Public Works has 3 resolutions. No sense in bundling them. PPW1 is authorized employment and training to fill a position to operate the Yelp program. This will not affect the county budget in any way. They'll be paid for by the grant, and when the grant's over, position is over. So looking for a motion in a second.
Nightingale, move it.
Second.
Any questions? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
DPW 2 is to authorize the highway department to accept the insurance claim on the 10-wheel truck and to purchase a replacement.
Move it.
I'll second that. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
DPW 3 is for the highway superintendent to hire the seasonal employees.
Move it.
I'll second that. All in favor? Any questions? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And there's no resolutions. But you know, the only thing, all the departments are working with Lynn, and putting their budgets forward. I've been attending as many as I can. They'll go on, I think, through the beginning, first week of October. And, at that point, I guess we'll be on at some point, ready to look at a preliminary budget. All right. If there's no other business, all right.
Second.
Sticker.
Second. Thank you.
Favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.